There is a powder sitting on the shelf of your hardware store right now, usually in a bag smaller than a box of crackers, that dissolves rust stains off concrete like they were never there. Not bleaches them lighter, not fades them temporarily, dissolves them at the molecular level and rinses them away with a garden hose. One application on a driveway stain that has been there for 6 years, and the concrete looks like it was poured last Tuesday. No pressure washer, no rented equipment, no contractor standing in your driveway charging $300 to spray water at 3,000 pounds per square inch while your landscaping gets destroyed in the crossfire. $2 worth of powder, a bucket of warm water, a cheap brush from the dollar store. 15 minutes. And here is the part that should make you furious. A chemist in Indianapolis discovered this in 1882 while cooking dinner. He was boiling rhubarb in a tarnished pot. When he pulled the rhubarb out, the pot was cleaner than the day he bought it. He looked at that pot, and because he was a trained chemist, he did not call it a miracle. He called it a hypothesis. He isolated the compound responsible and traced it to a single molecule, oxalic acid, the simplest organic dicarboxylic acid on Earth. 2 carboxyl groups bonded together, a molecule so small it fits on the back of a napkin, and so powerful it has been dissolving iron stains since before the Roman Empire had a name. That chemist was George William Hoffman. He turned his discovery into a cleaning powder and sold it to tavern owners in Indianapolis, who used it to polish their brass bar rails until they gleamed. The bartenders loved it so much they gave it a name themselves, Barkeeper's Friend. That product is still on shelves 143 years later. Same active ingredient, same chemistry, same molecule that your grandmother could have extracted from a pot of spinach. And yet, if you call a power washing company today and ask them how to remove a rust stain from your garage floor, not a single one of them will tell you about oxalic acid. Not one. Welcome to Camping Secrets. If these stories matter to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the best way to make sure this knowledge survives. Here we open the vaults the industry locked shut. Now let me take you deeper, because this molecule has a history that most chemistry professors never bother to teach. Oxalic acid was first isolated in 1769 by a German chemist named Johann Christian Wegeleb. He extracted it from wood sorrel, a small clover-shaped plant that grows wild across every temperate forest in Europe. The plant's Latin name is Oxalis acetosella, and that is where the acid gets its name. 8 years later, in 1776, the Swedish chemist Carl Wilhelm Scheele figured out how to synthesize it entirely in a laboratory, making it one of the earliest organic acids ever produced by human hands. But the real earthquake came decades later. In the 1820s, Friedrich Wöhler synthesized oxalic acid from purely inorganic starting materials. No plants, no animals, no living organism involved at all. That single experiment helped dismantle one of the most powerful scientific beliefs of the era, the vitalistic theory, which claimed that organic compounds could only be created by some living or supernatural force. Oxalic acid did not just clean metal, it rewrote the rules of chemistry itself, and civilizations had been using it for centuries without knowing the name. Ancient Chinese woodworkers noticed that certain plant extracts cleaned iron tools better than sand or stone ever could. Medieval European dyers used sorrel-based washes to strip oxidation from their iron-mordant pots between batches. Beekeepers across Eastern Europe discovered that dilute oxalic acid killed varroa mites without harming the bees, a practice still used in organic apiaries today. The molecule kept showing up wherever humans worked with metal, because the chemistry never stopped working. Now let me show you what actually happens when you pour this liquid onto a rust stain, because understanding the reaction is the difference between trusting a marketing campaign and trusting physics. A rust stain on concrete is not sitting on the surface. That is the critical fact that every pressure washing company conveniently forgets to mention. Iron oxide particles from a leaking grill, a rusty wheelbarrow, a set of old tools left out overnight, those particles migrate into the pore structure of the concrete itself. Concrete is not solid the way glass is solid. It is riddled with microscopic capillaries and voids, and dissolved iron seeps into those pores and bonds to the calcium silicate matrix deep inside the slab. That is exactly why pressure washing alone does not work on old rust stains. You can blast the surface at 4,000 pounds per square inch, and the orange ghost remains because the stain is not on the concrete. It is inside the concrete. A pressure washer cannot reach what it cannot touch. Oxalic acid does something that no amount of water pressure can replicate. When you dissolve the powder in warm water and apply it to the stain, the oxalate ions penetrate those same pores. Once inside, they encounter the iron oxide molecules that are causing the discoloration. A double displacement reaction occurs. The oxalate ions bond with the iron ions and rip them free from the calcium matrix, forming a new compound called iron oxalate, which is water-soluble. The stain literally converts from an insoluble mineral locked inside the concrete into a dissolved salt floating in the rinse water. You hose it off and the iron leaves with the water. The stain does not fade. It ceases to exist. And here is a detail that almost nobody mentions. The reaction also produces water as a byproduct. You are cleaning concrete with an acid that generates water as part of its own chemistry. Compare that to hydrochloric acid, which power washing companies sometimes use on extreme jobs, and which actively etches and damages the concrete surface, weakening the slab every time it is applied. Oxalic acid does not etch concrete at normal working concentrations. It targets iron compounds with chemical precision, leaves the calcium silicate structure of the slab functionally untouched, and rinses clean with no residue. It is a scalpel where muriatic acid is a sledgehammer. So why does a $1.2 billion power washing industry not tell homeowners about a $2 powder? Think about the business model for one long moment. A power washing company charges between $150 and $500 for a driveway cleaning. Rust stain removal is considered a specialty add-on service and gets billed at a premium. Companies charge anywhere from $75 to $200 per individual stain because they classify it as chemical treatment requiring professional expertise and specialized equipment. The average American homeowner calls a pressure washing service every 18 to 24 months. Rust stains are the single most common reason homeowners escalate from a basic wash to a premium service package, because basic pressure washing does not remove them, which the contractor already knows before he pulls into your driveway. Now multiply that across 75 million single-family homes in America. Multiply it across the driveways, garage floors, pool decks, patios, sidewalks, and commercial parking structures that develop rust stains every single year from lawn furniture, grills, sprinkler heads with iron-rich well water, rebar bleed-through, and 100 other sources. The broader exterior cleaning services market in the United States alone exceeds $95 billion in annual revenue. The pressure washing segment generates over $1.2 billion of that by itself, and a meaningful portion of every dollar flowing through that system depends on homeowners believing that rust stains require professional equipment and professional chemistry. A $2 powder that any homeowner can mix in a plastic bucket in their own garage is not a product the industry wants to promote. It is a product the industry needs you to never hear about. You cannot patent oxalic acid. It is a naturally occurring compound found in rhubarb, spinach, beets, tea, chocolate, and dozens of other common plants. George William Hoffman figured that out in 1882. The chemistry has been public knowledge for over 250 years. There is no intellectual property to protect, no exclusive formula to license, no proprietary delivery system to justify a markup. And yet, when you walk into a hardware store and pick up a branded concrete rust remover, read the safety data sheet. You will find oxalic acid or one of its salt derivatives listed as the primary active ingredient. They take $2 worth of powder, suspend it in a proprietary gel with thickeners and surfactants, pour it into a spray bottle with aggressive packaging, and sell it back to you for $12 to $25 per application. The chemistry inside that bottle is the same chemistry that cleans a rhubarb pot. The only difference is the label, the margin, and the assumption that you will never turn the bottle around and read the ingredients. If you have made it this far, you already know more about concrete stain chemistry than 99% of homeowners and most of the contractors they hire. Subscribe and share this with someone who is about to spend $400 on a pressure washing job that a $2 bag of powder could have handled in 15 minutes. Now stay with me, because the application method is where most people make mistakes. And getting this right is the difference between a stain that vanishes and one that barely fades. Here is exactly what to do. Step 1. Go to any hardware store, paint supply shop, or online retailer and purchase food-grade or technical-grade oxalic acid powder. It is sometimes sold under the name wood bleach in the paint aisle. A 1-pound bag costs between $5 and $10 and will treat every rust stain on your entire property multiple times over. Step 2. Dissolve 1/2 cup of oxalic acid powder into 1 gallon of warm water inside a plastic bucket. Do not use metal containers because the acid will react with the metal and waste your solution. Stir until the powder is completely dissolved. The liquid should be clear and slightly viscous. Step 3. Pre-wet the stained concrete surface with clean water from a garden hose. This is a step most people skip, and it matters enormously. Pre-wetting opens the pore structure of the concrete and prevents the acid solution from being absorbed too quickly into dry areas surrounding the stain, which can cause uneven lightening. Step 4. Pour or brush the oxalic acid solution directly onto the rust stain. Use enough to keep the area visibly wet. A cheap pump sprayer works perfectly for larger areas like driveways and garage floors. Step 5. Let the solution dwell for 10 to 30 minutes depending on the severity of the stain. Keep the area wet during this time. If the solution starts drying before the dwell time is up, add more. The chemical reaction requires liquid contact to proceed, and a dried film stops working. Step 6. Scrub the area with a stiff bristle brush. Nylon or polypropylene bristles work best. Do not use a wire brush, as metal bristles can deposit new iron particles into the concrete and create fresh stains within weeks. Step 7. Rinse thoroughly with a garden hose until all residue is gone. Let the concrete dry completely. When it dries, the result will be most visible, because wet concrete always looks darker and can mask the improvement. For stubborn stains that have been embedded for years, repeat the process a second time after the first application dries. The second pass reaches deeper into the pore structure because the first application already cleared the upper layers. One critical safety warning. Oxalic acid is a poison if ingested and can irritate skin and lungs. Wear rubber gloves, eye protection, and avoid breathing the dry powder when mixing. If you get the solution on your skin, rinse immediately with plenty of water. Keep children and pets away from treated surfaces until fully rinsed. Spread any used rags flat to dry and dispose of leftover solution by diluting heavily with water before pouring down a drain. This is not optional. This is a safety rule. Now here is something the branded products never tell you. Oxalic acid also works on iron stains caused by well water irrigation. If your sprinkler system pulls from a well with high iron content, you already know the orange streaks that appear on sidewalks, foundation walls, and vinyl siding after every watering cycle. The same $2 solution treats all of it. Mix it in a pump sprayer. Mist the affected surfaces, let it dwell, and rinse. The iron oxalate that forms is harmless and washes away completely. It works on iron stains on vinyl siding. It works on fertilizer rust marks on concrete curbing. It works on rebar bleed-through on poured walls. It works on the orange halos around every bolt, bracket, and metal fixture that has ever touched a concrete surface on your property. 1 pound of powder. Every rust stain you own. Under $10 and an afternoon of your time. A homeowner could maintain a completely rust-free concrete property for decades with 1 bag of oxalic acid purchased once. Compare that to calling a contractor every 2 years at $300 to $500 per visit, who is going to show up with a pressure washer that cannot reach the stain, and a chemical sprayer loaded with a repackaged version of the same $2 powder you could have bought yourself. This knowledge was never secret. It was public science in 1769 when Vigalib first isolated it. It was commercial product in 1882 when Hoffman sold it to bartenders. It was federal knowledge when the U.S. Navy used oxalic acid formulations to clean rust from ship decks and bulkheads after World War II. It appeared in dry cleaning manuals throughout the entire 20th century as the standard treatment for iron-based stains on fabric. The molecule never disappeared. The conversation did, because every year a new homeowner stares at an orange stain on their garage floor and types into a search engine, "How do I remove rust from concrete?" And the first page of results is dominated by pressure washing companies offering $300 service calls, branded chemical products priced at 10 times the raw material cost, and sponsored articles that never once mention the 3 words that would end the search instantly: oxalic acid powder. But now you know those 3 words. And the stain on your driveway that you have been staring at for the last 3 summers does not have to survive the weekend. Chemistry does not care about service contracts. Iron oxalate does not negotiate with marketing budgets. And a molecule that has been dissolving rust since before the first concrete slab was ever poured is not going to stop working because a power washing company wishes it would. If this vault changed how you see the stains on your property, subscribe and share this video now. Every share puts this knowledge in front of someone the industry was counting on never finding it. Every subscription keeps this channel digging deeper into the vaults they thought were sealed forever. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside is the one thing every homeowner throws away that could cut their water bill in half permanently.